Hello everyone, it's Raza Von Werder from the University of Mother God Church, talking about the broad subject is how to make it. How to make it in show business, how to succeed in life. And I'm just touching upon a few basic essentials when I went from New York to California, the way beginning of my life and my success. And then I talked about Andre de Dienes, who photographed Marilyn Monroe quite a bit. There's a book on it, which I showed, and I showed a lot of pictures in the book. And I keep criticizing him as being a sleazebag and a pervert, and etc., etc., because he was. The whole time he was driving me, he drove me by car from New York to California. 60% of the time all he talked about was sex. The rest of the time it was like, it was just, he was a nervous wreck. Every time we came to an intersection, he would blow his horn like this. And even though there were no cars there, it was out in the middle of nowhere. The middle of nowhere. And he thinks a car might come. So he's blowing his horn, boom, 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 boom. When we would stop to get food or whatever. And one time I got a peach. Just ate one peach. He said, you didn't ask me if I could afford that peach. You didn't ask me if I could afford it. You didn't ask me if I could afford it. One peach. And then if we stopped at a coffee shop and we had coffee, and I had coffee because I like coffee. Why are you drinking coffee? You're not going to sleep. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to sleep. What are you drinking coffee for? What are you drinking coffee for? You know, he was like a harrigan. He was a nervous wreck. He was blah, 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 blah. And he was telling me all these anecdotes about, ugly anecdotes about sex and about things. And I think the reason he didn't want me to drink coffee is he wanted to masturbate. When we got to the room in the hotel or motel, not hotel, motel. It didn't take us very long to drive, you know, but occasionally we stop at a motel. So it took like 5 days and 5 nights, I think. So yeah, we stopped at a few motels. And at first I was willing to do sex to him and he couldn't get an erection. And the only reason I was willing to do it, because it was an ordeal, I wanted to get it over with. And couldn't get an erection. I don't know why. Maybe because he's an old fart. And then by the next day, he tried to do it to me. I said, no, we're not doing it. Because, okay, I don't want to be screwed by a guy that is repulsive to me. As simple as that. I was a model. I was not his girlfriend. I was not his whore. I was not his prostitute. I'm just a girl. He's not paying me. He's not giving me anything. Why should I screw him? Why should I screw him? Why? He's ugly to me. To me, he was ugly and repulsive. And I was willing to pose nude. And I did pose nude, and he paid me. But why do I have to have sex with him, you know? But they always demand. Every guy you meet demands sex. Every freakazoid you meet demands sex. And then the stories he told me, I mean, they were ugly. They were disgusting. Like he told me he would take a melon and he cut a hole in a melon and he would masturbate into the melon. And then after he had an orgasm, he'd cut the melon open, take the insides out, and eat the melon. Like, I'll never forget that. It was such a graphic anecdote. And to me, so vile. I could just picture it, you know. So I never forgot it. I mean, I'm a kid. I'm a 16-year-old kid. And yes, I have made out with a few guys. Yes, one guy did de-virginize me. But I'm still a kid. And to hear the whole time for 5 days and 5 nights the running script about sex. You know, and this is in general what you get from men. So don't think you're the only one. Everybody gets it. Male and female. Males get it too. Males are harassed and raped and exploited by other men, especially young ones with the older ones, just as much as women are. Don't think ever, 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 ever think you're the only one. It's me too, me too, me too, me too. It's all of us. It's all of us. They do it to all of us. So, and then he told me a story about, well, this was sad. This was very, very, very sad. He told me that his mother, she had like 8 children. And his mother committed suicide by jumping down a well. Now that broke my heart. That broke my heart. That wasn't sleazy. That broke my heart. That was very, very, very bad. But another depressing story was he told me that his older brother raped him. His older brother forced him into sex all the time. And then he would tell me about homosexual acts he witnessed and just never-ending anecdotes about everything was sex, 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 sex. And then he told me the story about Marilyn Monroe, how he took her on this long excursion, when she was a nobody, and he took her. It was snowing, and they found a motel in the middle of a snow mountains and everything like that, and they went to this motel, and they only had one room, and with one bed. So he tells me that he did sex to her, and he did oral sex, and she loved it. Well, I guess she loved it. She said it was the first time in her whole life that any man had done oral sex to her, which I can believe, because back in the day, men didn't know how to do oral sex. Now, with pornography, some of them learned. Some of them at least got the idea to do it, but they don't know how to do it. But they at least got the idea of doing it. They're trying. Some of them. Okay? So, yeah, I can believe that. But in his book, Marilyn Monroe, which I just got through, like 3 videos showing the pictures in the book, it tells a totally different story about how, whatever. And I don't know where they got these stories, because I think the book was posthumous after he died, and they dug up all his pictures, including all his ugly pictures he took of Marilyn Monroe, which is, she's the most glamorous woman in the world. She's voted #1 of all the beauties of the world, whatever. So, of course, every picture of her is valuable, even the bad ones. So he, oh my God, it's already 8 minutes. I want to get through with this, because this is, a lot of these episodes of my life are depressing. They're like, I don't want to remember them. I don't want to think about them. They're depressing. He's depressing, but I have to. Like, my first husband was depressing, but I have to think about it to tell you the story. So the big subject right now is how you make it. So I had to tell you this story, but I want to get through with this. I don't want to do another video on this bastard, but I guess I have to, because I'm almost down to my time. I want to keep the times not over the required amount of time. So, oh geez, what was it that I wanted to tell you? So, so for 5 days and 5 nights, he did harass me for sex in the beginning, then he finally gave up. And we got to California. So he's such a cheapskate that just during 2 months he was, or 1 month, 1 or 2, I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 months, he was away from California, New York. He rented his house, a beautiful house, beautiful modern house in Hollywood, in the Hollywood Hills, for $200 a month. And he told me, oh, I must have been crazy to rent my house. And so when we went to his house, it was rented. Somebody was living there renting it. So we couldn't move into his house, so we had to stay in a motel for a while. He wouldn't buy me any Kotex. I don't remember if I had the guts to ask him, but I never had the guts to ask for anything, because nobody ever gave me anything. I didn't have any guts to say, buy me this or buy me that or do this or do that. I didn't have the guts because I was so abused, so demoralized. So I had to use towels. I had to use towels when I had my period from the motel. And of course that was bad. That was horrible. It was horrible for the people who owned the motel, but he didn't buy me any Kotex. I had no money. I had no money. Just to go to show you how insensitive and uncaring he was. And then he said, you got all this woman's towels bloody. You got her towels bloody, blah, blah, blah. Well, buy me some Kotex, you bastard. You scumbag, buy me some fucking Kotex. He didn't want to buy me any Kotex, but he screamed at me for using a woman's towels to soak up my blood. What was I going to do? You see what a scumbag he was? This is R.J. Dianis, who wrote the book Marilyn Monroe. To be continued. I guess I got to do another video on this.